We back at it, Drew, man. Policy and culture. Another week. A lot of interesting things to talk about that's been happening the past couple of weeks.
A lot of interesting things, man. A lot of interesting things.
You know what it is, policy and culture. Make sure you follow us. We really got to get our subscribers up. Make sure we get the following up. This is something that's going to be on a weekly basis. We're sticking to the script. Follow us at Policy and Culture. That's the letter N, at Policy and Culture. Across all platforms. Website is live with up-to-date media every hour by the hour. Website is www.policyandculture.com. If you are a fan of politics, anything politically related, if you're a fan of power and how power works, but also really more so are tuned into the culture and you want a safe space to come, listen to conversations, join conversations. Check us out every week at Policy and Culture. My name is Dan Lloyd, one of the co-hosts.
I'm Andrew Ayodeji, another one of the co-hosts.
And we like to have fun with this.
Absolutely.
We like to have fun with this, but at the same time, this is a serious conversation because, as you can see from one of the topics we're going to talk about, the president had a very interesting presidential
His
speech yesterday. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Nah, I didn't watch. I seen a couple highlights of the speech. It kind of gave me kind of a little brief synopsis of what's going on. What I'm gonna get into when I look at the full one, but
yeah, I caught it, man. We're gonna get into it, but he had a half an hour speech. I'm surprised that this was something that had to be prime time, like urgency. We'll talk more about that. So that's one of the topics we're gonna talk about: President Trump's urgent message to the United States. Obviously, we got to talk about voter fraud and what he's saying is voter fraud. I think it's important for us as we talk about politics. One of the main things, obviously, is voting. A lot of our culture, unfortunately, especially the younger part of our culture. Actually, no, I would say that they're getting more in tune.
I think the younger culture is getting in tune, but it's still like a large chunk of our culture that's not really interested in that. And that's another thing with policy and culture. We really gonna pique y'all interest on those topics right there, as far as like political will, political power, why it's so important. Like I want them to look at it from the point of view of why they going so hard to put these roadblocks out there, why they going so hard to protect these voting, blocks that they got. And we gotta look at that as like that's something that they put in an extra emphasis on. They cheating.
So that's funny you said that, because let's just go right into it then. So the president yesterday gets on prime time, 9 o'clock, talks briefly about the Iran war, which we are losing. Let's be very clear. The United States of America is losing the Iran war, if we haven't lost it already. And why do I say that? Anybody that's interested or follows geopolitics knows that the reason why we have not gone to war head on with Iran is because they're not a regime, the IRGC, or a nation that's going to uphold or be able to really...
They never really wanted to coincide. This is why our prior presidents never really even bothered to...
They don't follow by any civilized rules.
Right. So what made Trump think he could be the president to kind of like make them kind of abide by these rules and come to terms with all of this?
So in my opinion, I think it's because he has bad intel and bad people around him that because they took over Venezuela so quick in a day,
right,
that for some reason this was going to be the same case with Iran.
So the impact that this is having right now, like on the economy, but also just on America as a whole, like what's happening right now? Like what's going on?
Well, first let's go back to, I think it's important for people to understand, especially our listeners. One of the biggest things that's come out of this, obviously now everyone has heard of the Strait of Hormuz.
The Strait of Hamas.
It depends. I don't know how you want to. Hamas.
Yeah, I've been hearing the Strait of Hamas. That's how I pronounce it.
All right. But the strait, right? We'll just call it the strait.
Right.
This was an open pathway for huge oil vessels to embargo, trade, come through, and do what they do. Oil and gas and whatnot. This was open. So this is not anybody control this.
Right.
So with this attack on Iran, one of the things that we did was actually educate Iran that they actually can control this. They never knew this. They never thought that they could actually pull this through. So with this war, not only are we losing it, we actually made one of our worst enemies
Kind of woke them up a little bit.
We gave them like this is people disagree, but I'm gonna go and say that I don't even think they need a nuclear weapon anymore. The whole point of us doing this was in the name of Iran cannot have any nuclear weapons, build nuclear weapons, access to anything that could potentially build a nuclear weapon. And why, right? Because then they have the ability to then just do what they said they're going to do, which was death to America, obliterate Israel, do anything that they've been saying that they were going to do for a long time. Giving them the ability to shut down the strait whenever they want is almost as bad.
And why is that? Why is that the strait that important?
Because it dictates the global market so impactful that, as you can see, it will increase gas prices, but also increase the price and inflation across the world. So China's been hurt by this. Russia's been hurt by this because it delays trade on an international level. So now you gave Iran the ability to just basically fuck up everybody's trade.
Yeah, that's crazy. And they always had this access, but they never really
They didn't know.
Powerful. Okay,
They didn't know.
I get what you're saying.
Can you give me an example of what that would be? I've been trying to figure this out, like for the culture. Like, what did we do? What is this like empowering? I was trying to figure this out.
So basically, I think what happened with what Trump did was basically, how can I say it? That's a good one. I'm trying to think what he did. Like how he woke him.
It's like when Pac got the gun.
And Juice.
Right?
Facts.
Like
Facts.
everything changed when she got the gun.
Facts. I got the gun now. Cause I already got it.
That's what the strait is.
Cause I already got it.
I already got it.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I don't need to do a peace treaty with you. And think about this. Part of that potential MOU gave them 60 days to come up with a peace treaty. One of the elements in that was we may possibly give Iran $300 billion.
Did they get the three?
No,
Oh.
I'm just saying. That was one of the things that could have been part of it. They basically said no to $300 billion. So then you got to ask yourself, what does a nation want if it doesn't want $300 billion? The other thing that bothers me, when I listen to a lot of these shows, and I'm going to say right-leaning shows.
They want a piece of the real action, man.
Power.
They want a piece of the real action. They don't want the money.
They don't want the money.
Yeah, they need a fraction.
Fraction. I would also go as far as saying they actually do want to destroy America and Israel. A lot of these shows that I'm listening to, they keep talking about, there's a few things that bother me that I just want to kind of get off my chest a little bit.
What's that?
One is, when you talk about Iran, when its gas prices are coming back to normal, which now they're not, or, you know, Trump is doing a good job of showing power and showing that he's a leader and he's doing things that no other president has done with Iran. What are you looking at?
But I think it's a reason none of the other presidents even...
No, this is my point.
Yeah, facts.
So where's the wisdom? Where's the diplomacy? Because if you had real diplomats and actually learned from the past 40, 50 plus years, you would have known not to do this. Now there's no way out. What's the way out? And this is what's starting to bother me, because the only way that you get out of this situation right now, if you're President Trump in America, is you have to put boots on the ground.
And what does that look like when you say boots on the ground?
Literally American soldiers.
But isn't it already boots on the ground?
No. Nah, if he does that, it's over. He might get impeached and have to be forced. This is what I'm saying. It's nobody, right, left, independence, country, racist, like no one wants boots on the ground.
So what happened with that whole war when he went over there and was like destroying everything and all of that? Like what was going on with
Iran?
Yeah.
So that's just Air Force and military. So
Okay.
they're just bombing, they bombed Iran's Air Force.
So that's not boots on the ground?
No.
Okay.
Boots on the ground is like what we had in Iran and Afghanistan. When American soldiers were actually going to those areas, boots on the ground, getting dropped off, and they're going to war, you're basically guerrilla warfare.
How far are we from that?
What other options do we have right now? And I think that's the question that they're faced with right now. And Iran knows this.
And is Iran backing down from that?
No.
The war aspect at all?
No, they don't care. They don't care. And Trump keeps saying that they decimated the army, they decimated Iran's military, they decimated Iran's navy, they decimated Iran's air force. So what are they doing? What are they using to bomb Israel and other areas? If that's the case. They're bombing ships and vessels in the strait. So if we decimated all this, what are they doing right now? So clearly the president's lying. That's what's starting to frustrate me. And what bothers me is that platforms like Patrick Bet David and all these people that I used to look up to, they refuse to admit.
Why do you think it's like that though?
I think it's because like they're friends with, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's sad.
You think it's loyalty to a leader to where it's like, I really don't want to speak publicly bad about the president or something like that? Or
yeah, because they're friends. Also, I would go as far as to say like some of these leaders, influencers, like a PBD, really hates socialism, the concept of socialism. Democratic socialists. Like every time that I listen to them talk about Mamdani or AOC or Bernie Sanders, you can hear like they really, really despise that whole entire socialist concept. So he's big on the ends justify the means. I'd rather stick with a right-wing conservative lunatic than even entertain at all any type of socialism. Which I don't know if I would go to say I'm even like, I'm definitely not a socialist. But we have to have deeper conversations about whether or not capitalism is working.
And I think, just the president's aura and everything that he done did so far kind of piqued the conversation, but I think it got to go back a couple layers. Like, we got to peel back a couple layers to kind of get to that nitty gritty. Like, speaking of that Project 25 situation that they Project 2025 situation that they put together, all of that is coming into fruition. Like, as we speak, all of those plays is coming together. So I think it needs to be more of like a sense of urgency when we speaking on that and really getting more intel to really know what's going on. Because it's like changing every day. We seen with the gas prices, like that was really the only thing that I seen that really like affected the culture. People was really speaking like, yo, gas is going up like every day. So I believe if people knew exactly what was going on with that, I believe people would be a little bit more tapped in. Or to understand like, yo, this was a decision. The strait was basically shut down. We had it before. Now it's not, and this is the reason why everything is going up. It's inflation on global trade. It's inflation on gas. And
again, the main premise that the president and this administration said to go over there was to protect America. This administration was supposed to be America first.
Right.
We actually went there on the behalf of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. So that in itself is not really America first, especially when we're forced into a war that is hurting us. There's no production, there's no productivity, there's no positivity, nothing.
So why is it that it's like this is not being spoke about? Why is it that like nobody's really being held accountable for this? Like who? Like what's the steps to take? Like what? Like what's
so this is the weird dilemma, because what just happened recently was a lot of Democrats actually tried to reduce funding for Israel. This is a little bit of a Israel conversation. We can jump into it, but a lot of Democrats are now trying to take a step back from their support on Israel because of this. I mean, it was already happening with what happened between Palestine and Israel with the bombings and the genocide that's happening over there on both sides. But now you could tell that it just doesn't make sense. Who is this benefiting? Why do we give so much money to Israel?
Right.
And then because they're an ally, all right, well, why is that money not going back into the American people? We still have to solve a lot of issues. We still have a massive trillion dollar debt that we have to balance.
And we got problems right in our own community. So why is it that it's like we could afford to fund Israel or the Palestine when we right here in Amityville and Wyandanch got real life economical issues to where it's like education wise people are struggling. I feel like just foundationally growing as a youth into a young adult, I believe it's like almost impossible if you don't really got like a strong household over there. So why is it that like we could throw trillions of dollars over there and we can't even get a couple, hundreds of thousands into the youth here?
That's the big question, right? Like there's a lack of focus to solve the problems that America has. This administration definitely hasn't done it, but to be quite honest with you, a lot of the administrations don't. We are a global we are the number one global superpower though. So when you are the biggest nation, the strongest nation, you do have to work with allies and protect other countries. That just comes with the territory. But at some point you have to recognize that internally we are struggling and we have to address the issues and the challenges that we have as a nation internally, which this brings up a good point of this. One of the big things that the president talked about yesterday was voter fraud. This urgent message he needed to get across basically brought us back to 2020 in Georgia.
Right.
Which makes absolutely no sense because what he said was, since 2016, we have evidence of China meddling and interfering with our elections, which is absolutely false.
So those was allegations.
Allegations. They have no evidence of them actually changing the vote in our voting system. What they have is that China was able to access the data of registered voters. That's a big difference.
Right, absolutely.
That means, which is public knowledge, by the way, they can find out who's registered to vote, their address, their name, their date of birth, and what party they're enrolled in. That's it. It's not like he came out last night and said, we found out that China changed the vote on 50 million Americans that were Republican and changed it to Democrat.
He knows how to get people riled up around the situation. Now they like all the way aware. Now everybody's on it. Like they trying to like just probably play everything by the T now. Now it's like this is something that we need to look at.
But we got to wake up as Americans. And unfortunately, I'm starting to realize that we're not thinking deeply enough about some of these things that are coming up. And this is why we're in the position we are now. If you listen to what he said since 2016, all right, so that means that while you were president,
right,
2016 and 2020, when he ran for re-election, you allowed China to meddle with our elections and you lost, which is what he's saying in 2020. He's basically saying he won in 2020.
And he allowed China to...
Because this happened from 2016 to 2026.
It's a lot of fuckery going on around Donald Trump right now. That whole thing with Boosie, 600,000 paying for a pardon and all of this, like, it's just a whole lot of fraudulent activity like going on. Once you, I don't even think you got to look into it. A lot of it's just on the surface. A lot of these decisions, a lot of these outcomes of these decisions, where it's like you kind of creating more issues than you are providing solutions. I just think it's nutty, man. And like nobody's really saying nothing about it. These shows that you was talking about, nobody's really pointing that out. When you hear anything about Mondani, when he's speaking about violence being reduced in New York City, the first time something happened, you hear somebody speaking out about that. So why is it that this dude can make these decisions to where it's affecting us on a massive scale economically, to where it's affecting global trade, to where it's boosting our gas prices, to where it's really affecting our quality of life? Why is it that that's not really being spoke about? Why is it that the people don't really understand what's going on?
Because the culture is not engaged enough. And again, it goes back to when we talk about voter fraud, which we're going to get into why it is actually so important to vote. It sounds cliche, but just to finish that 2016 and 2020 thought. So you're telling me that because the reason why you lost was voter fraud, but then the reason why you won all of a sudden, 2024, there was no meddling in the election and you won. So that actually worked. It's like, make it make sense. Whenever you win or Republicans win, the voting system is strong. Whenever you lose, it's talking about that's fraud and that people are cheap. Let's just talk about.
But how do you prove? Like, was there any proof versus those?
No, there's no proof. No, they have not found anything. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. But let's just talk about the Save America Act. I'm curious of your thoughts. This is what he was talking about yesterday in his speech. The Save America Act is a federal election bill focused on voter eligibility and election security. At this point, it's definitely Trump's #1 legislative priority in 2026. This is where the confusion happens when Republicans talk about this. They're talking about you need to prove that you're a citizen, prove identity when voting. So when you vote, what happens?
I give them my address. I give them my address. I show them my ID, and I go vote.
Nah, you don't show them your ID.
I don't show them my.
Nah, you don't have to.
Oh, well, I go give them my address and I go vote.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's appropriate? Honestly.
I mean, it could get tricky.
I'm not gonna lie. Literally, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that could get tricky.
A couple of times I went to vote, I'm like, wait, you don't need my ID?
Yeah, that could definitely get tricky.
So this is what they're saying. It's like they're trying to basically push the need to have or show ID when you're voting. However, a lot of Democrats, a lot of independents, black people, Hispanics, Asians, a lot of people actually support the idea of having to prove identity when you vote. I have to say, I kind of understand that.
I understand that.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
But this is where they catch you at. When you're registering to vote, now, we just did a whole voter registration with high school students in Roosevelt, remember?
Right.
This is the fuckery with this one. They're saying that those students would have needed to provide a passport or a birth certificate to register to vote.
How many kids is running around with a passport?
Exactly.
Got access to
how many adults?
Absolutely. But it's always plays like that to where it's like, all right, it seems simple, but it's always like a loophole behind the scenes that could slow somebody up, could trip us up. And that's more so geared towards our community, I feel like that's geared towards our community because it's a lot of people that he know is running around without identification or never even thought about leaving the country, so they won't have a passport.
But I would argue to say, honestly though, the largest demographic of low-income people is actually the Midwest to Western predominantly white states and cities.
They voting for him.
It's the largest demographic of welfare, and they generally do vote Republican. So I do see this as something that could backbite them if this happens. What I'm trying to process though is when you go get a license, you do need to provide a birth certificate or
it's a couple
social
things,
security card.
You gotta provide like a bill or something to your address. You got to provide that. You also have to have like an extra piece of ID.
This is where that's a good point.
Yeah.
If I did all that and I have my license or a state ID,
right,
then why would I need to do that? Why would I need to have that to register to vote? Actually, when you get your license or your state ID, it asks you, do you want to be registered to vote? It asks you that. It checks it off. So I would support this if it was that you had to bring a state ID or your license to vote.
Right.
I don't support this saying that you need a birth certificate or a passport to register to vote. That to me it doesn't make any sense.
Nah, I agree.
A lot of people don't agree with that.
I agree with that. I agree. Because it's like, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
I don't think he's getting this passed though before the midterms. That's what he's trying to do. To get back to the culture though, with all of this emphasis on voting, you obliterate the 1965 Voting Rights Act. You are trying to get this Save America Act into place to make it harder to register to vote and then to vote. Why is it that, and be honest, like in your opinion, why is it that our communities just still resist the value of voting?
Because I don't think they ever really, they're not aware of what's happening. Like, I don't think they're aware of how much it affects them, how much like it matters. I don't really think they're aware that. I think everybody kind of caught up in the everyday hustle, really trying to survive, really trying to take care of their kids, really trying to make sure they making ends meet. So I don't think it's nothing that's really that piques piques their interest. Like, but if you look into it, and that's also just the people that's in our community that's getting the messaging out there. Like, I think it needs to be a lot more sharper candidates. I think it needs to be a lot more relatable candidates that run for these positions worldwide collectively to make politics more appealing. Like, we never really seen like a politician that's really appealing. Like Scarface, when he did what he did out there in Texas, made kind of a impact on the hip hop industry, but he was kind of like old at that time. Like, I knew the significance of it because I'm a hip hop fan, but I just think like you know, it's gonna take a little bit more of the culture to be involved with it. And they gotta look at it like when these people need votes, they come and tap in with the culture. Like what's the girl's name? Kamala Harris went and got Meg Thee Stallion. Donald Trump, when he was out here in New York in the Bronx, he went and got Chef G and Sleepy Hollow. So it matters. Like, they know the significance. That was the reason that they brought him there. I just don't think it's something that really spikes our interest. I don't really think it's gonna affect them.
Would you take somebody that's appealing or a candidate that is just really a man or a woman of integrity and is going to do the right thing and vote the right way every time?
I mean, where we at right now, we kind of need somebody that's appealing because we got to really grasp the attention of our people. And it's just going to take a little bit more to kind of do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We really got to like have somebody that don't mind really tapping into the trenches, going into the hoods, that's listening to the music that you listening to. Not saying that gotta be your top genre of music, but you understand. So when you come into the neighborhood, you kind of relate to what people kind of going through. So once that happens, I could see the political doors kind of opening. People will be a little bit more interested. And it necessarily don't even got to be on that aspect of the culture. You could be keen in sports. You could be keen in fashion. Like, it's just different things to where you could connect with people. And that has a larger impact on that bottom half that we speaking about. Because it's just really, they unaware, they really don't know. Like, when you have a conversation with somebody else that lives in one of these affluent neighborhoods and you speaking about an issue in the neighborhood, or you speaking about an issue in the community that they just really disagree with, they speak about the council, they speak about the assembly person, they speak about their legislators, like, it's second nature. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that we really need to know. And if we do tap into that, it's just going to bring a power that we never really seen before, but it's just going to take us a collective minds to really kind of get on the same page with that. And we do it for all of the wrong reasons. I just think it's going to take somebody with the charisma, also take somebody with the intelligence and the morals, principles, and values to really understand the shortcomings that our peoples have for years and the impact that you will have on this situation now to really like lead the way.
Well, what do you think would be like one or two clean, like so you mentioned like the gas prices increased with the Iran war, so people felt that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were in the P's in Amityville, we were getting signatures.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ladies said, "For what? Like, I ain't see nothing change."
Mm-hmm.
What do you think would be something that's like a clear change for the disengaged demographic of our culture?
That's a real good question right there.
I was thinking, think about it. I was just, because we just drove by Marcy on our way here, right? And I was thinking, like, what if it was, but this has happened in Newark, but I don't know. What if it was like the mayor in Baltimore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just has put out a press release that it's the lowest crime in the history of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Dramatically reduced gun violence. I would think that's something that's a low-hanging fruit that's been a tremendous negative impact on Baltimore and its narrative, that now people could be like, oh, when you vote in a good mayor, that's appealing.
Right.
I think it's Brandon, I'm not remembering his last name right now. Let me just look this up, actually. It's the beautiful thing I have in the computer right here. Mayor of Baltimore. You gotta shout him out. What's it supposed to be? Brandon Scott. I would think that that's one of the things. If it's a neighborhood or a community that's dealing with gun violence, the right elected officials that could be appealing, but also are living with integrity and doing what needs to be done on the public policy side, you should reduce gun violence, because if you're reducing violence, that means that you're increasing opportunity, you're increasing processing, you're increasing graduation rates in high schools, you're increasing youth to get into skills, trade.
And all of that you're speaking about, I don't think that our people are aware that these people possess that type of power to be able to affect that in their life.
Okay.
I think that's where the disconnect is.
But let me ask you a question. They say like all kinfolk ain't skinfolk.
Or yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that we've done a good job being in positions of power to actually show the effects of change?
Certain areas, yes, but certain areas, yes, and certain areas, no. Certain areas, yes, and certain areas, no. Like the proof is in the pudding. Like Brandon Scott, Baltimore, your man Roz out there in Jersey. You could see like the effects of that. Like the communities is really, involved, and the neighborhoods really changing, and that's coming from the grassroots, because it's people that's not typically regarded as community leaders that really got a seat at the table now, that's speaking about the community, that really got stake in the community, that got equity in community.
What all right, so we drove by Marcy, right? Let me just see if this would have any significance, right? We drove by Marcy. We know that Queensbridge, right? Largest housing project in the world.
Right.
Marcy, Jay just did his 30 years, by far probably the most successful hip-hop artist.
They say he's probably the most successful musician now at this point. Like,
yeah, it's worth something like $8 billion, I think.
Yeah.
We just drove through Bushwick. The whole demographic of Bushwick has changed, basically.
Right.
A lot of Brooklyn has changed. Would it be a significant evolution if Marcy projects and Queensbrook projects had redevelopment and was no longer a project and became low to medium income, and anybody that's on Section 8 or any housing assistance would have to work itself off in 5 years?
I think that'd be dope. I think that's a program that could definitely change the narrative, but it's like...
A lot of people are going to be against that, though.
Yeah, a lot of people would be against it. You got people that been living in there like forever. Like you see what Fat Joe said about his mother. He wanted to move her out of the projects out there in the Bronx. She didn't want to leave. So it's like...
But then is the connection with the environment, the positives of it, is it possible to then evolve? Because when we grow up, we mature, we evolve as humans, as men, as women, there are changes.
But that right there is just showing you another disconnect, because we speaking about like older people that just really don't want to leave. They enjoying their space, they enjoying their apartment. They could come outside, they could go to the store, they could go back home. It's like when you think about like the other aspect of that, this is where it's like it gets, tricky. It gets tricky.
I asked that because we're gonna get into some of the other situations. Obviously, you want to talk about what happened in Kingdom and our culture, but I do feel like our culture is one of, when I'm speaking specifically on, I would say, Black culture, and I would even go Hispanic culture, but we really are the only ones that haven't totally evolved.
Absolutely, because it's like I said, it's the process. And back to what I was saying, like with the lady in the apartment, right? You got her living that aspect of life. She's happy, she's content, she's comfortable. And you got somebody like Hove that came up in that building, right? I think that whole middle part people don't really speak about, that we hear about when we listening to the documentaries of the time that was really put in of, beating on the table, writing these rhymes in this notebook, going to school, writing this rhyme, just always writing, always perfecting his craft. So it's just like, I feel like regardless of the environment that you in, if you put in the work, if you take the time and you really invest into yourself, if you really invest into your craft, I believe that it's a way out, because it's like almost impossible. Like if the luck is just against you, you come outside and lightning strike you, or you just come on up in the area where, like, God forbid, you get caught up in a situation, it's the wrong place, the wrong time, you die. But I just really feel like if you invest the time, you put those hours in, anything can happen. And that affected like Marcy forever. Memphis Bleak was affected by that. Jazz O was affected by that. Source Money was affected by that. You still got his man that he left, The Haven. It's still speaking about that. So I just think the sacrifices that was made there is like screaming 30 years later. They just sold out Yankee Stadium for like 4 days straight. So that's that's another thing. The proof is in the pudding right there. He really put his time into his craft and became the best in the world.
I guess what I'm asking is, when you talk about basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a dog sport.
Right.
The youth that coming from the neighborhoods we're talking about right now, even on Long Island, coming up, could be single family, going through struggle, low income, were at that moment and historically the best basketball players.
Right.
Now, we know a lot of players that have no opportunity because they don't have the funding for training.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the guidance, the commitment from family members because the family members are not there. Basketball has actually become a privileged sport.
Absolutely. I feel like it became a privileged sport when you speak on it as far as like being able to invest into the training. But I think just the influence of the hood culture got so bad that it really lost the interest of a lot of trench babies that really got consumed with sports. I think Lil Durk and Pooh Shiesty is a little bit more effective on the youth than Allen Iverson and Jordan was when we was coming up. Like, we really wanted to be ball players as young kids outside that really want to be drillers. Like, Pooh Shiesty don't regret doing what he doing. Like, he talking crazy from the jail cell. So it's like, this is what these kids is like really into. And I'm saying at the time when we was coming up, Iverson, it was always privileged kids that, prevailed, but, you just had that extra grit. And I'm saying, and you had people that didn't mind investing into the talent at that time. I think that's what's like kind of changing right now too. Like, this basketball thing is becoming such a business to where it's like such a transactional situation that I think that we forgot about the compassion. I think that we forgot about the trench babies. It's like, I gotta meet this quota. I need this. This my business. This what I'm doing. I think we forgot to, kind of pour in and get that, back on the back end. But I think the trench babies is interested in other things, Dan.
Can we have
The trench babies is interested in other things, right?
Can we have the I would say the vibrancy, the frequency, the energy, the fun of the culture?
I'm glad that you're speaking about energy and frequency. Just think about a lot of the basketball players that we come across. They got the energy. I mean, speaking of young, they got the energy. They got the whole aura of, a superstar. You can see them coming through with the chain. A lot of them got the girls. But are you working like this superstar? You're not really working like the superstar. And I'm saying, and you got kids now that are privileged, that could go get a trainer and lock in 7 days a week, that could go play at a prep school where they could reclassify 2 or 3 times and be put on a strict diet, really eat the right way, get a strength coach, and, kind of make life easier for their family. Already this NIL thing, like, it's kind of changing the landscape of basketball. So, I think that's something that's gonna kind of pique the trench babies' interest again, because a lot of these kids is gonna start coming back home and they seeing it. Like, it's changing. Like, you seeing these kids pulling up in these luxury vehicles. You seeing these kids running around with jewelry. You seeing these kids wearing all of the designer. You seeing them going on the trips, and that's coming from, athletics. That's the beautiful part about it. So I think the NIL could kind of like be that low-hanging steak to kind of wake the trenches up again. Like, yo, this is a way out, bro. Scamming ain't really it right now. Like, this is it. Let's get to this.
Spend that.
I mean, again, man, this is what's, to the forefront of our culture. Like, she letting you know what she want, man. Young Miami's letting you know what she looking for, man.
I completely disagree with that record.
I do too, but
100%. It's actually a catchy record. Again, I've said this already, but I feel like if she would have just said, change that word scamming with hustlers, it's the biggest record in the world.
Because you could take it to different rooms.
It's the biggest record in the world. I think that was short-sighted, and you're not going to be able to. It's a dope record, though.
Short-sighted track, but also just a short-sighted thing to be looking for a scamming ass nigga. It's like a million other type of, things that you could go, inspire to bring it to your life. You don't really want no scamming ass nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
show me where you spinning the block on your ops at. Like, what? I don't know, man. Like, this is the last thing I'll say on this because we got to jump on that. But at some point, this is what I'm trying to get at too with this is when we talk about politics and culture, it's like we want change.
right.
I'm talking about the bottom right now. The trenches, we want change, but it's like we don't want to let go of the things that come with the pain.
The pain, but like that track right there, it's like you could have replaced that with Hustlers, but it's like you put the scamming part, but you also enticing violence in that track now.
That's what I'm saying. So let's talk about. It's going to go right into what just happened with basketball, right?
Right.
One of the biggest lines on that record is, "Show me where you spin the block on your ops at." She's saying that in a way where it's kind of like,
show me, nigga. Show me.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you're promoting murder, literally murder. But then we have a situation that just happened. This happens a lot.
Right.
Where all of a sudden it's, why this got to keep happening? We can't keep having one and one without the other, especially in music where that actually motivates a lot of people.
And it's real energy. Like music is real energy. Like that's real energy. Wow.
You want to jump? Let's jump into a little bit of the basketball scene right now.
Yeah, man. The summer definitely didn't kick off the way that I expected after the Knicks winning the chip, man. Definitely rest in peace to Keno. I had the opportunity to actually coach Keno in the Clash Pro League that we had in Harlem last year, and it's definitely heartbreaking, man. I send my condolences to the family, everybody else that was affected, the Young Ones team, B5, Dre. I really send my condolences to the family, man. It's definitely an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible, especially in a moment where New York City is definitely the livest city.
Right.
Because of the Knicks winning.
Right.
Jay's in town.
Right.
It put a big damper on.
It was cool. It put a real corny energy, like that was like, it put a real corny energy outside that wasn't even really out there. Like we had Jay out here, he was turning up the shows. Everybody opening night was kicking off. Like that shouldn't have happened, man. Like that shouldn't have happened. Or that shouldn't have happened, bro. And I kind of put my foot in my mouth last year talking to you and Frank. I'm like, yo, man, I was at Kingdom at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you
like,
did say that.
Facts. Like it wasn't nothing going on. Like it was love, the games, the basketball, but I don't know, man. You at the end of the day, you still gotta be, mindful of the environments that we in. Like that's in the middle of the projects out there, Forster projects. That's like kind of like a infamous area for violence. So at the end of the day, we always gotta, keep that in mind that, we in these neighborhoods when we out there, having these events. That's why I thank God, nothing, serious never happened to the magnitude of that situation in Bodemac Park, man. I really pray to God that it never does. And I want to thank my community for kind of like always holding it down, man. Anytime it's like a situation, like we gotta kind of like a lot of older brothers that kind of frontline, that kind of like, yo, nah, this is not what's going on, man. Bodemac is a no-fly zone. It's like a community thing, man. Y'all take that up out of there. So, shout out to y'all, man. But again, man, rest in peace to Kenu. They had the services, I believe, today. I seen it on Irk's page, man. It's definitely an unfortunate situation, and they still don't got an idea who did it. Nobody was arrested. It wasn't anything that happened. So
yeah, supposedly somebody wearing a Nike ski mask, which I definitely want to talk a little bit about because I was in Dick's and I have no idea why Nike or Dick's thinks it's okay to sell Nike ski masks in the summertime, and it's in the front of the store.
Facts.
It's not in the winter section. It's not in the snowboarding section. It's not in the ski section. I think it's completely disrespectful.
Nah, absolutely. And it's a black person on the...
And every single box is a young black kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
What are you selling this for?
Nike got to be held accountable, man. Like, you gotta be out to camp.
But this is what I'm talking about. That's another aspect. That's the dilemma with culture, right? Like last summer, we had artists wearing ski masks to Kingdom.
Facts.
I'm dead. Am I lying?
Nah, that's a fact. Yo, you a funny dude. Yo, you a funny. Yo, dude, you a funny dude.
So it's like, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's just like this is what we're dealing with.
Nah, that's a fact. That's a big fact. Word. That's a big fact. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's real. We have to address it, but again, that comes into. You want to talk a little bit about the Jay concert or not?
Nah, the Jay concert was dope, man. I wish we definitely could have got out there, man. We missed the boat on the Jay concert. But it wasn't like we missed it for good reasons, man. I wanted to say this at the beginning of the show. This is my first show as a father. We ain't really telling people, man, that I had my beautiful daughter, Genesis Marie, so I was kind of like in the hospital.
Congratulations.
Nah, I appreciate that. I was having my baby girl. That's why we ain't really make the Jay show, but...
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, beautiful, man. It's the best feeling in the world. It's the best feeling in the world. I'm excited, man. I kind of look forward to getting home now and kind of like doing daddy stuff. She's so little. I'm scared to like pick up. She's so little. So it's like...
Yeah. And enjoy it. She's going to get big soon.
That's dope.
That's definitely a beautiful thing.
It's dope.
Nah, but obviously, I mean, we still got LA and France.
Nah, we could
somewhere else too. I forget where else it is.
It was dope to see everybody out there vibing. Like, I ain't really realized like Jay had hits like that. Like, from the Politics as Usual to the Can't Knock.
Did he do Politics as Usual?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
he did?
It was a vibe. I'm telling you, he was turning up. Then he did the extra innings. They said like Jay overdid it. They was like, yo, he really showed New York love. Like, he really showed love like to the town. Like, he put on. So I heard nothing but good reviews outside of the little stampede kind of situation where people couldn't get in the last day. But other than that, I heard great things about it. I heard it was a great show. Everybody that he brought out put on. Him and Nas made a movie out there. So I heard it was dope, man. Shout out to them.
Nah, I think it's definitely, I know in the past we have talked about the idea of possibly Jay doing a little more for the community, but this was, I mean, this is huge.
Nah, it set the city on fire. You know what I'm saying? It's still like, with all of the bad energy that was going on, it's still kind of like, made New York pop. It was definitely a good look for the town, man.
You wanna dive into the characters in our community a little bit or nah?
Now, we definitely could dive into the characters of our community, man, because that plays a big part as well, man. They just as important. Like, they just as important as anybody we've been talking about that been making decisions, because they the people that's kind of like making it happen.
We're gonna build on this. So as we start doing these weekly conversations, we're also gonna start dropping Town Hall Tuesdays live on YouTube. We want our community to join us live.
And that's gonna be something where y'all can interact with us
exactly,
too, man. Y'all can tap out. We want to know, what's going on with y'all, how y'all looking at it, so we could really bridge the gap and start making this thing happen. So that's definitely gonna be a movie, man. I'm looking forward to the Town Hall Tuesday.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. But one of the things that we're gonna start spinning out with this is how to navigate the characters of our culture. How to navigate the characters of our community, because there's certain pillars of influence within our culture and community that is a flat out character at this point.
And you gotta embrace it too. Like this journey, man, I'm learning now to kind of like embrace these characters, bro, because it's turning me into like just like a whole nother being. You can't really let it kind of like deter you. Like, it's kind of keeping me on my toes. It's letting me know that like I gotta be hungrier. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be hungry. And I think if anybody else is going through that, where you dealing with these type of characters, or you dealing with people that's gatekeeping, or people that just don't want to see you succeed, man, the best repellent, the best type of revenge is success, man. That shrivels them. It's like putting snail on a sword. When they see you winning, bro, they shrivel. So it's like, yo, you really gotta like invest into the craft. You really gotta invest into you, because these people, they not gonna help you. They don't want to see you win, bro. They trying to make it to where it's impossible for you to score.
And it's scary because you won't even know it. You'll feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll feel it. You'll be like, what?
And if you're not really surrounded by the right people, like, you won't know it, bro. It took for you to kind of point certain things out to me with certain characters that I was dealing with in my life to be aware of it. My man Frank had to put me on to certain people that I was dealing with that's characters in my life for me to be aware with it. And it's like, you be kind of blinded sometimes because you got like a relationship with a person or you got a genuine love for the person, so you're not even really expecting it, and the whole time they really trying to 48 you. So it's very important to have intelligent people around you. You don't always want to be the smartest person. You know what I'm saying, like, it's very important to have somebody that could kind of keep you on your toes. You feel me? And that's important because me personally, I really want to know what a lot of situations to look out for. So I think that's vital.
And it's also like there's characters in every community, and there's also characters that is just at this point, like I said, pillars. So, and as we dive deeper into this, it's not about any specific institution, but there are characters in each one of these institutions.
Absolutely.
That we're gonna address. And why it's so important to recognize them immediately,
mm-hmm.
and then understand that politics is a sport.
Facts.
It's probably the most brutal sport. You want to talk about hockey, you want to talk about football, you want to talk about rugby. In my opinion, politics is the most brutal sport.
And if you go in there too, like, you go in there too genuine, man, it's sharks. And it's like, you won't know because they really there with a smile on your face. Like, hey, Andrew, man, how's it going, man? Like, it's really sharks out there. So it's like, knowing is half the battle, man. Like Dan said, if you don't really spot these people out immediately, that word was important. You got to spot these people out immediately, man. Like,
it also depends. It also depends on what you're trying to accomplish, right? So everyone is just not a genuine person. Actually, the majority of people are not genuine. So if you're looking to get into certain roles, influences of power, it could be an elected official seat, it could be an appointed position, it could be a CEO or a director of a nonprofit, and you have no problem bending or aligning yourself with the integrity or lack thereof with these institutions, or for instance with these characters, then that works for you. Like, and people have made a living doing that.
This is how I look at it. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's the path that you,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Do that, right?
Yeah.
But why throw monkey wrenches into somebody that's really trying to get it out the mud, that's really trying to take these chances and go get it? Why are you trying to throw like a blockade out there?
You're potentially shifting the realms of power. You're shifting influence. And remember, the most important thing you could do to somebody or for someone is get them a job, a career, or an opportunity. So when you think about Tammany Hall, the history of politics, especially in New York City, it's a joke, but it's real. It's like the two main things in politics. There's only two things.
Jobs.
And judgeships. J&J. Remember that. It's jobs and judgeships. Look what Trump did in his administration. Immediately, the first thing was jobs. But that happens with anybody that comes into the elected office. And so you have the power to give thousands of people jobs.
Right.
You have the power to appoint people to positions of influence and power.
Right.
You have the power to appoint people to judiciary seats that can dictate or, in a lot of cases, sentence people to 20, 30, 40 years, as they did in the past for marijuana charges, for different things. And so when you're trying to create your own lane and build up a ladder of success and influence, and at the same time, monetary value to provide for yourself, for your family, why would they want this shining new light with good energy, a smile, come and disrupt that power? Right. It's not new. This is why you have books like 48 Laws of Power. You have all these books about how to navigate these things. But I would say it's crucial and it's urgent to understand that there's a lot working against us as a culture. And a lot of times it's not Orange Man and the red party.
I agree. I agree. It's a lot working against us. Our culture's also working against us. And it's not always orange man, like you said. I learned that the hard way. Well,
So that's one of the basic fundamentals and the premise of this platform and this podcast.
and I feel like it's like people need to know that massively too, that it's not always the white man, because I believe that's where the confusion come into play, because it's like we get something successful going on, right? We don't really know behind the scenes that we have brothers and sisters really taking shots at the situation, right?
Yeah.
So when it gets shut down, it's just always, anytime that we have something, man, the white people, nah, bro, it's like channels. Like all of this is channels. You get what I'm saying? So I just think once we get a little bit more aware, like we said, people getting civically engaged, people really understanding, like, you could just call a shot, but this is usually coming from like a chain of command. Like in these departments, it's commissioners, it's deputy commissioners, it's that. So it's just a lot of different channels of power that I don't think that we're really aware of. We just look at it as the whole, like, oh, the white man shut us down.
Well, we're going to navigate all that policy and culture. Again, we're going to be having weekly discussions about all of the up-to-date political topics, have guests that are really going to educate us on things that we may not be privy to. But most importantly, with Town Hall Tuesdays, we want to have conversations with y'all. A lot of times, elected officials are not having town halls.
That's a fact.
They're scared.
A lot of these people don't even know they elected officials, man. I'm telling you, like, forget a town hall. Like, do you even know who your elected official is? So I just think, like, with these Town Hall Tuesdays, man, it's gonna give our people the information and the insight to take it a little bit, to take it a step further, I feel like.
And shit, I'm curious to hear some of the things that's gonna be said, but cause
why, I want to know, why is it that we can't never really have nothing? Like, I want to hang out with my culture. I want to listen to the music that I want to listen to. Like, why can't we have nothing? This is something I want to talk about. Like, let's address the culture. What usually happens when we...
Drew, show me where you spin the block on your op app.
But I get what you're saying.
That is the biggest song in our culture right now.
The conversation that we gonna have with our peoples. I'm
just saying, when you ask that question, there's a song right now that answers it for you. We can end it with that.
Nah.
Follow us on Policy and Culture.
Town Hall Tuesdays. Y'all make sure y'all tap in, man.
Policy and Culture, live with you.
We good.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't sure how much time we had, but I know we were supposed to end by.
We're at 57 minutes right now.
Oh, all right, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.